Call to order the meeting of Monday, January 14th. It's our first meeting of the new year, so Happy New Year to everybody. And we will have the roll call.
Councilmember Archibald. Councilmember Ashford.
Present.
Councilmember Veeden. Here. Councilmember Harris.
Here.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Here.
Councilmember Warden.
Here.
Mayor Rep.
Here. You have the minutes from the December 10th meeting in front of you. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Veeden. Is there any changes? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes will stand as submitted, and we will move forward to the presentations. If the clerk would please read them.
Police Chief Platzer will introduce the city's 7 new police officers: Jason Berg, Kevin Dombeck, Adam Luttrell, Ashley Marcarno, Zachary Pay, Carter Richley, and Tristan Shouty.
Madam Mayor and Council, as they're making their way up, come on up, we felt it was important. The citizens of this city graciously approved by historic margins our public safety millage, and we wanted to take a moment tonight to show you the impact that those extra tax dollars are having on our community and the impact they're having on our employees' lives.
Mayor Rep, City Council, City Manager Freed. So tonight I want to introduce you to at least 7 of our new members of the Port Huron Police Department. These have been hired over the last year. We currently will have 2 more starting in February, and then another one in May, and another hire in August. But first of all, this is Officer Jason Berg. He's from Big Rapids, Fair State graduate, and he's also currently in the Air National Guard. He's currently out on his own. He's completed his FTO process. Next to him is Officer Carter Richley. He's from Marysville, and he recently is out on his own too, completing his 4-month FTO process. Next to him is Officer Kevin Dombeck. He's from St. Clair, and he's currently out on his own, just completing his FTO process. Next to him is Officer Ashley Marcarno. She's from Marysville. She's a veteran of the United States Air Force, and she's also part of our Hometown Hero program, which is our partnership with the Community Foundation. Next to her is Officer Tristan Shouty, cadet, started off with the Port Huron Police Department from Marysville, and he also is one of our Hometown Hero programs with the Community Foundation. Next to him is Adam Luttrell. He's from Port Huron, U.S. Army veteran, and he's currently in his field training program. And next to him is Zach Pay from New Baltimore. Ashley, Tristan, Adam, and Zach are currently in their 3rd week of training in our 4-month FTO process. So these are our 7 new hires for the Port Huron Police Department.
Welcome.
Thanks. Nice. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Yeah. Welcome aboard.
So proud.
Welcome to the power. Yeah.
So proud of your face. So proud of your face.
Thank you. Thank you.
You guys keep us safe.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay.
And now we have the second part of the presentation.
We have Fire Chief Nicholson will introduce the city's 3 new firefighters: Aaron Ficinelli, Jacqueline Martin, and Robert May.
Mayor, Council, as a result of the public's passage of the police and fire millage, the fire department was able to maintain roster strength, which allows for a minimum of 9 firefighters on duty in the city daily. Our most recent hires include probationary firefighters Rob May, Jackie Martin, and Aaron Ficelli. They are all currently assigned to suppression shifts under the supervision of a company officer. In addition to our traditional probationary evaluation, with some components that have been in place for decades, new firefighters are now required to complete a comprehensive probationary development book, which includes knowledge and skills assessments in areas such as technical rescue, fire apparatus operations, and the department's standard operating procedures. Firefighter Rob May was hired by the City of Port Huron in May of last year. Rob grew up in Marine City, He was previously employed as a paramedic with Tri-Hospital EMS and as a career firefighter with Port Huron Township. He joined the City of Port Huron Fire Department with 16 years of fire and emergency service experience. Rob is married with 2 boys, ages 7 and 10. Probationary firefighter Jackie Martin was also hired by the Port Huron Fire Department in May of last year. Jackie grew up in Port Huron Township. Prior to joining the City Fire Department, she was employed as a detective assistant and property manager with the Port Huron Police Department. Probationary firefighter Martin was also a paid-on-call firefighter EMT with Port Huron Township for over 8 years. She is married to her husband Greg and has 2 boys, Rylan 5 and Grayson 3. Probationary firefighter Aaron Faselli was hired into the department this past November. He is originally from Port Huron. He came to our department with 10 years of fire service experience, including the last 3 years with the City of Memphis, Tennessee Fire Department. Probationary firefighter Faselli was also a member of Tennessee Task Force 1, where he served as a technical rescue specialist. He is married to his wife Randy and has 2 daughters, Adeline and Sophia. I present to you our 3 new firefighters.
Welcome aboard.
What a nice group of young men and women joining both our police and fire departments with the great qualifications. So we're well protected. We'll move on to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the City Council this evening? If you do, please come to the podium, give us your name, and you have 4 minutes. Seeing no one, I'll declare public comment closed. We will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Warden.
just the second reading of the ordinance 18-020.
Okay.
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Harris.
resolution number 4.
Okay. We'll take the vote on the remaining items.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Beeden,
Yes.
Councilmember Harris,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Warden,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. The items on the consent agenda, received and filed notification that Michaela Klusman has been appointed by the city manager to the Port Huron Housing Commission to fill a vacancy, expires December 19th, 2022. Approve the scheduling of a public hearing for February the 11th to hear comments concerning liquor licensees, delinquent in payment of taxes and/or income tax reporting or payments. Adopting the 2019 Federal Poverty Income Guidelines and Policy for granting or denying poverty exemptions, confirming the mayor's appointment of Jasmine Thomas to the Planning Commission for a term to expire August the 11th, 2021, confirming the city manager's appointment of Christopher Giesert as a licensed builder to the Rental Housing Board of Appeals with a term to expire June 10th, 2020, and recognizing the Betty Kearns Cancer Fund as a nonprofit organization in the city of Port Huron. We will start then with, from the city manager, item 1.
Accepting the bid from Signature Ford in the amount of $45,421 for a 2019 Ford F-450 4x2 extended cab truck for use by the Utilities Division.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Second?
Councilmember Beeden.
Madam Mayor, if I could, before you have the truck we're purchasing, this is a specialty truck that has a specialized chassis for load. It has specialized compartments. It takes significant time to build a vehicle like this because of the components in the back of it, storage bays and the weight component. So we will actually order this truck, but we will not take possession of this truck until July of next year, which will be paid for out of our next fiscal year budget. But since it takes so long to build this truck, we wanted to get the order in so that we could take possession of it in our next fiscal year.
Okay, is there any questions, comments?
Yes, I have
Councilmember.
a question. Thank you, Mayor Rep. Can you kind of speak to the impact if not purchased?
I will have DPW Director Witter do that.
And I'd just like to say, understandably, I understand that, you have to put it together, and we won't have possession until July the 2019. But the other statement, as far as the impact, if not replaced, I just need you to speak to that.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Yes, this truck is available 24/7, 365 for not only day-to-day activities, but also emergency repairs that we have to respond to the public. So, like Mr. Freed said, this vehicle is a specialized vehicle. It has multiple bins, boxes that store the tools needed by the employees to perform their work.
So we wouldn't have to be purchasing another vehicle to do any other work aside from the one that you're already ordering, correct? I mean, there's no need to order anything special in place of that between the period of July to...
No, the current truck is, it was in the shop even last week, and they're having trouble with the doors staying shut, so it's time to get this thing ordered. Motor Vehicle Pool's trying to keep it together until the new one can be delivered.
To be clear, the cab is rusted off, and they have bolted it together to hold the cab onto the chassis till
Right,
July.
yeah. Okay, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so we on a hope and a prayer,
We're hoping
trying to
it'll
get there.
last that
Okay.
A couple lug nuts and a
Right,
prayer.
okay. A couple of
lug
lug
nuts
nuts.
and a prayer.
Okay, that's what I needed to make clear.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion?
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Harris.
I guess my question is, the fact is that being this is on the 1920 budget, and we haven't even met to have a budget session, what's the legality with this?
It's right here.
What do you,
Without a budget?
you're authorizing it tonight.
Yeah, again, as City Manager Freed indicated, you're authorizing it tonight. You can still make changes to that budget in the future. Obviously, you'll go through the city charter procedure with the 1920 budget.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't see an issue. Sometimes this happens in government where you have to approve something in advance.
But if we really absolutely had to have it before then, we would have had to approve it prior to the budget even coming anyways, correct?
Correct, yeah.
It is
Yes.
a budgeted item that is, yeah.
Any other questions, discussion?
Yeah, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Warden.
Well, I have a few. Are we going to be distributing any payment between now and July 1st of 2019?
No, we'll
No?
pay it. We'll pay on possession.
Okay, so, and that, yeah, the main concern we had, or that I had here seeing this is that we've already kind of surpassed our budget for the year for the motor vehicle fund for this fiscal year. And then, of course, with that fire truck that we just did last year. And with this being put ahead, again, we haven't met for the budget for next year, and we're already now agreeing to put this in place now as far as a purchase now and an approval now. So those are my concerns. I think you answered it by, again, I was concerned about if we had to pay any dollars between now and then, how it would affect our already over budget that we are. But I appreciate the need, and again, this won't reflect at all until July of 2019, correct?
Yes, but to be clear, we have not spent all of our motor pool budget for the year. We're actually well under budget. We never expelled our full budget amount. I believe it was $765,000. We have not spent nearly that amount of money. And this will allow us, this actually puts us in a better position for budgeting, because if we waited till the next fiscal year to order this truck, we would be guessing what the bids would come back. Now we know exactly what this vehicle is going to cost us. Again, the motor vehicle pool, at our last meeting, the auditors were here and went over our audit, generates about $2 million a year in an internal service fund. We have more than $1 million fund balance in that account. So two major points is we have more than $1 million in fund equity in the motor pool fund, and of the $765,000, we have not spent nearly that. So even though we budget that money, doesn't mean we spend all of that money. And so we come in dramatically under budget.
Just the notes that we had, The running total from August of 2018 till the November purchase, items 18041, 18042, 18050, 18051, 18057, 18059, those added up to $646,834 for motor vehicle purchases. So I've kind of, been watching it concerned, and then the $415,000 for the purchase of the fire engine puts us over, I think, at one point, or almost close to over $1,062,000 for this fiscal year, and now this purchase. So I just, I don't know the overall pool, but the budget itself was at, I think you said 765. The budget, at least what has been, the kind of displayed in the prep before these purchases as we go, was 783,000. But either way, I think without that fire engine purchase, we would have been under, and this would have not even been a concern. But again, I think we already decided that, and I think it was the right thing to do. But I want to make sure the numbers that I saw so far that we've approved for motor vehicle and stuff out of the motor vehicle fund is definitely where I see the numbers as being we're over budget for this fiscal year.
Well, to be clear, as you noted, we're more than $120,000 under budget of our annual projected fleet replacement. The fire truck was purchased out of fund equity, meaning we made an appropriation out of fund equity on top of the $780,000. So not only on our annual basis, we came in $120,000 below budget, but the fire truck was a special appropriation of fund equity, which, as I said, was well more than $1 million.
Yeah.
So we were not over budget. It would be illegal for us to go over budget.
Yes, Councilmember Ashford.
Yeah, can we have the city manager explain that pool to us? Is it a rollover?
Yeah, so...
It may help.
Yeah, exactly.
Some
So
knowledge
every
here.
single time a pickup truck is used, or a weed whacker is used, or a lawnmower is used, the state actually sets rental rates. Meaning for every hour you use a 4x4 Ford truck, it's, and I'm just using an example, $20 an hour, $30 an hour that you pay back into the Internal Revenue Fund to account for the depreciation of that vehicle. And so it's an internal service fund that's supposed to pay for as we go, so we don't just use all of our equipment, depreciate it, and have no money in the bank. As equipment is being used, we are capitalizing and appreciating that asset and putting that money back into the fund so that we can maintain our fleet without having to raise taxes or borrow money. So that's how the internal service fund, it actually generates about $2 million a year. We expel between $1 million or $1.5 million a year, depending on what we're purchasing, which leaves us a fund balance for unusual purchases like the claw truck that was $300,000 for the forestry department, or a fire truck. And so it's intentionally designed to run a healthy fund balance for those unusual occurrences.
And it's restricted for certain...
It is restricted for vehicle replacement, and we couldn't rob Peter to pay Paul type deal.
Right, okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other questions?
No, thank you.
You will take the vote.
Councilmember Beeden?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes,
Mayor Rapp?
Yes. We'll move on to item 2.
Accepting the bid from Northgate Ford in the amount of $31,032 for a 2019 Ford F-250 4x4 crew cab pickup truck with an 8-foot box for use by the fire department.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pemberton, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Beeden.
Madam Mayor, if you thought the last one was good, this is a doozy. So let me have some explaining here. Earlier in the year, I believe in August or September, we purchased and ordered a 4x4 pickup truck for the use of the fire department. That pickup truck arrived, and it was my mistake that it did not meet the needed specifications. It lacked certain things like power windows and power locks. Things that may seem small to us are a big deal when you're on a fire scene. Rolling down your crank window when you're rolling up to a scene, or being able to unlock your vehicle when you're running out to it and there's 4 guys jumping into it. And so, although for typical fleet operations, not having power locks or power windows is not a big deal, it is for the fire department. And so really, we had explored, well, can we go back and, add power locks and power windows on, which would have been several $1,000s to retrofit that purchase. However, last month, you approved the purchase of 2 pickup trucks one for our public works and one for our utilities division, which is going to be used at the sewer plant. The fire truck purchase meets the needs for the sewer plant. And so what we're proposing is we cancel we have not ordered the 2 trucks from the last meeting. So we want to only order one of those trucks. And then take the second truck, which will be this one, and give it to the fire department and move the fire department truck to the wastewater plant because it completely meets their needs. And so we will not be gaining an additional vehicle. We have a need for the vehicle that was ordered. It's a typical fleet vehicle that will meet the needs of the wastewater plant. So essentially, we're taking the purchase for the fire truck, sending that to utilities, and then canceling the order from one of the trucks from last meeting and ordering one that meets the needs of the fire department. And this was a technicality in bidding documents that you should, check for. We just assumed power windows and power locks came on it, but it didn't. And that falls upon me, and I apologize for that. But this will be a situation that remedies are, we still come out on top, yeah.
Still come out on top.
And it's cheaper than retrofitting that vehicle.
Right, okay.
So we're not ordering an additional vehicle. We have not, the 2 vehicles you approved last time, the PO is still sitting on the desk. So we'll only issue the PO for one for the public works, and the second one for the water plant we'll cancel. Give them the truck we currently have in our fleet, which is good for them because there's no wait. We already have it. And then we'll order the fire department this truck.
So as far as, I'm sorry, Mayor Rep?
It's the same net.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
So as far as documentation purposes or anything legally, it's just.
We own them all.
You
Yeah.
got it, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any discussion, questions?
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Harris.
I guess my only question that I found kind of confusing here is the current 2016 vehicle will go to the fire marshal, and so where does that put this new vehicle?
It's the current vehicle that we have is the Ford, correct? Sorry. We'll have Corey come down. Chief Nicholson explain this.
Mayor and council, the 2016 Ford will be rotated into the fire marshal's position. The fire marshal currently drives an older box-style van with mechanical issues. That will be rotated out of the fleet, out of the fire department fleet, further down the line into utilities.
So it's basically a better fit.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions before the fire chief sits down? Thank you. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Yes.
Councilmember Warden.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Councilmember Beeden.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 3.
Approving the bid from L&T Painting Incorporated in the amount of $192,880 for the painting of the interior south elevated storage tank and miscellaneous repairs.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Madam Mayor, this is just a standard tank painting that we do every about 10, 15 years. We did have our engineering firm vet this company, and they checked out. They've done work in the area, and so they're a reputable company.
Thank you. Any other questions, discussion?
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Warden.
with this interior painting of this structure, is it going to, when's that going to start? How long does it take for this? It says there's going to be some blasting done on the interior, and that's a pretty big structure, so.
Yeah, we'll have DPW Director Witter come, but typically it takes a couple of months to drain the tank, bypass the tank, sandblast the entire interior, and then paint, so a couple months.
Good evening, City Council, Mayor. James is right. It usually takes about 6 to 8 weeks to do the work. It all depends on the contractor and weather. But anticipation start first in spring and then be in service probably by mid-June.
And as far as the water supply, draining it, and you just mentioned a bypass, are we going to be?
We have other
Nope.
storage in the system, so we've taken other tanks out of service for painting. In the event something did happen, the water plant, there could be additional pumps turned on to supply the system, so we don't see any issue there.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Madam Mayor, you will notice when we bid out tanks, it's like the same list of bidders. It's because there's a limited amount of people who are willing to hang off the side of a water tower. So it's the same. These are the same companies I see from the previous cities I've managed. There's just a handful of them.
Any other questions, discussion? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Yes.
Councilmember Warden.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Councilmember Beeden. Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 4.
Accepting the bid from Patterson Tree Service in the amount of $18,500 for the removal of dead and dangerous trees in the city of Port Huron.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Beeden, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris?
Madam Mayor, you guys appropriated $120,000 of additional funding. We had a 4-year backlog for dead and dangerous limbs in the city. We just simply didn't have the manpower. When you have dead and dangerous limbs, if we had people call, there's a dangerous tree hanging over my car. If we had a storm go through town, numerous trees would fall. We had overtime call-outs. In just short order, since I believe this was approved in October, we have removed almost half those trees, about 80-some trees, and we had predicted about 120, at about 50% of the original cost. We had budgeted about $120,000. Based on what it costs to do, we'd call up a company and say, take down this tree, it'd be $1,000 to $1,500. We knew we would get some savings because of the economies of scale. I don't think we realized the drastic reduction we'd have because these teams are coming in and focusing on our city and nothing else. And so the bids are coming in remarkably low. We believe that we will knock out all of the trees for about $70,000, far below the $120,000 we anticipated. I will tell you, we have received numerous positive comments from residents who have been on this wait list to get a dangerous tree taken care of, and so when it is get cut and taken down, they seem very happy. I talked with Ben, our forestry director, and he says this company, he's watched them, they're efficient, they know what they're doing, and they clean up very, very well. And the residents have been, the cleanup and the stump grinding, that's really important, and we've heard nothing but positive responses.
Very good. Any other questions, discussion?
Mayor Rep? Oh, go ahead.
Just a comment, I'm really surprised in how good a work this company does. If anybody was, they're out of Port Sanilac, and, to drive down here and do the work that they're doing, and the quality is good. And some of the other companies that bid this time, I couldn't even find any good information on, so I just hope they just keep giving these slow bids and we can get this stuff done, so thank you.
Councilmember Warden?
Yeah, my question is, this is list 3 and 4. How many more do we have?
I think we have 2 more lists after this.
Okay.
50 more trees.
All right. Sounds good.
We're getting there.
Sounds good. Well, I strongly support this.
The goal should be we knock out the 4-year backlog by summertime. 6 months.
Okay.
Good.
Mayor Rep, just a clarification.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes, list 3 and list 4, is that priority-wise, or that's just the list that you put together?
The list we put together a list of about 120 trees, and we just prioritize them together. And so we're taking them, the reason why we split up the list is sometimes they're on local streets, major streets, and so Ben had a means and method of how he did it.
Strategic
It
plan?
is, yep,
Okay,
it
all right,
is.
thank you.
Any other questions, discussion? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Warden.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes?
Councilmember Beeden.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 5.
Accepting the bid from Sanctum Contracting in the amount of $65,841.60 for the Black River Scenic Walk improvements to be paid for using grant funds received from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Passport Grant.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pemberton, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Beeden. There's quite a difference in the bids here on this one, isn't there?
Yes.
Remarkable. Yeah, a lot.
Nancy, why don't you explain that?
He was pulling me from the grassy knoll, I promise. Mayor and City Council, we've been working on this project since 2014 with YPs, and we really appreciate their support on the Black River Walk, with all the projects that they've been doing between the benches and the pavilion and all the great things they're doing. We put this grant together in 2014, but the bids kept coming in so high that we never were able to put together a project that met how much money we had and the needs of what we were trying to accomplish. So thank God on this was our one. We went after like 3 extensions on this project, have come through, and we've whittled the project to where we're getting accomplished a lot of great things within the amount of money we received for the grant. So we'll be looking at a couple trailheads that will delineate the Black River Walk, one at Quay Street Park, one at the 10th Street Bridge area there that shows That's where the walk begins. We will be making the kayak launch ADA accessible, which was a requirement of the grant from the St. Clair County Parks and Rec that gave us the grant at the time. This will fulfill that. It will also do some signage that will connect the Riverwalk here and the Blue Water Riverwalk, so we'll have some signage in that regard, and also some signage for people walking, downtown highlights and things of that nature, and also two picnic areas, one by the kayak launch, which has seen a lot of activity, and also down by the Quay Street. So again, I'd like to thank the YPs. I know they're here today, but they had donated money towards the match for this grant and have been very active in helping us come to make this happen. So it'll be done, and it'll be great. So I thank them again.
When is it going to start?
It should start right away, and it's slated to be done by this summer.
Good. Any other questions for Nancy?
Could you actually, maybe tomorrow, or can you just send me this?
Sure.
This, or if you can send it to me just so I can have a copy of it.
Absolutely.
I'd appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
We will take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Beeden?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Mayor Epp?
Yes. Item 6.
Accepting the proposal from Dyke Security Services Incorporated in the amount of $14,946.59 for the purchase and installation of 10 proximity door access card readers for the Municipal Office Center.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Madam Mayor, there'll be a couple explanations. I've asked Chief Platzer to come down and discuss the need for this, and then I will discuss the company and why we're going the route we are.
Okay.
That's a nice badge you're wearing, Chief. There you go.
Mayor Epp, City Council, City Manager Freed. So, building security is a #1 priority for us, and has been for a while. I've been employed here for 30 years, 3 years as a cadet and 27 years as a police officer. And since that time, we really didn't have any security going from floor to floor to floor. Probably back 20 years ago, we installed some push keypads, but those codes have not been changed in 20 years. So people that have retired, been fired, resigned, still has access to our police department and other floors throughout the city building. So recently, we started with the police department. We installed card readers. And I can send this around. What this is an identification badge that all employees must wear, and it allows them access into certain areas. So for the police department, we would have access to the whole city building in case of an active shooter or a disgruntled employee. But it would allow other people in the building not to have access to certain floors. So if you work on floor 3, then you would have access to floor 3. You wouldn't have access to the police department. There's been many times that we've received calls about people being in the building after hours before the doors open up. I know that City Manager Freed had a meeting one day, and people got off the back elevator and interrupted his meeting. So putting these card readers in specific areas would allow us to control access to the building. And the nice thing about that is that card right there, dual purpose. It identifies the person that has it on, and that when that person either retires, resigns, or gets fired, we can deactivate that card immediately, and they no longer have access to any building or any area here in the city of Port Huron. So we're trying to upgrade the security, not only for our employees, but for the citizens that visit the building also.
Chief, can you speak to the ability to slow down the mobility of an active shooter?
It's crucial. I mean, if we got information that we had an active shooter, say, on the 5th floor, and if we could lock down that area, we could control that person to that particular floor and allow police response to get up there. If they have access to the whole building, then police response, we wouldn't know where that person would be. They could get to floor to floor to floor. We could be one step behind them all the time. By allowing us to have these cards, if we had an active shooter in the building, they'd have to have a card to get in. or unless they forced open a window, but we could lock down that particular area. We could go into our Alice protocol, and that would give us time to respond to take care of the threat. So this security and what City Manager Freed is suggesting is huge, and it's been on our list for a very long time.
So we had, the first time we sat down and talked about this was with Chief Reeves. Him and I began exploring a whole list. We got concerned with workplace violence, and the fact is we're a government agency. We arrest people, we condemn houses, we do a lot of some pretty heavy-handed work sometimes, which would leave some disgruntled people. We have had issues where we have had to hit our panic button and have an officer come up and get someone out of the building who's threatening staff. We have had these issues. I have personally had these issues in my office. Right now, because we have no system for locking doors, either every employee's carrying around keys to go to the Public Works for a purchasing meeting or go to planning for another meeting. We have no way of really locking down those doors, so there's free reign throughout our building. So Chief Reeves and I began a process of updating security of the building. One was a lot of our camera system didn't work. So 3 years ago, we installed new camera heads, new memory bank systems. So if someone comes to we have an issue in the lobby, there's a recording of it for a certain amount of days that we can go back and look at. So the parking lots are now under video surveillance. Which is good when people come to the police department if they're running for someone that is a deterrent. So we upgrade our camera system, we upgrade our archiving system, and we had this on the radar. We purchased new software to make these badges, right? And when we purchased these softwares, it was Detective Wesh, I believe, right, who did the research on it. And when we purchased the software to make these badges, we did so knowing that software would allow us to be in the future deploy these programming badges. When Platzer took over as chief several months ago, we did an assessment of our security, and the fact was our police department was never truly locked. So on some days and some mornings, if it's light, if the road lieutenant or sergeant has to take off, the building's empty. People can just walk in. So I authorized the purchase of, I believe, 5 of these swipes for the police department lobby, which is now secure. And many of you have been issued badges, if not, come and get one, to get us into the building. The issue now is the back elevators and the department doors. So the front lobby doors that go into the departments and the ability to traverse the back elevator. Those 8 doors are what will be taken here today. The reason why we're going with Dyke is because Dyke has installed, one, the original IT software for our badge system and the doors we already have in service. They've also run all the wiring and video recording. So they have intimate knowledge of our building, of our IT infrastructure, and the cost of having another company come in and learn that would be extraordinary. And so that's why we're going with Dyke, a local company who can do it cheaper because they've already done it in our building. They have access to our system and they know how to do it. And to be quite frank, where they're going to be going is intimate areas in our police department and throughout our building that we want to have a working relationship with that firm.
Any questions for either the manager or the chief?
Yeah. Mayor up.
Yes, Councilmember.
This new program you're doing, these doors, is this going to be locking down the access of being able to go and walk down the stairs?
No. So you have to have fire exits. So somebody, say on the 6th floor at Michigan Works, can enter the stairwell and go down, but with these new locks, they won't be able to stop and walk through the finance department, through the back entry, or walk into the planning department through the back entry. Right now, that's what's happening. Or we have people who come in through social service agencies on the 5th and 6th floor who just end up wandering the back offices that we have no idea.
Back, you mean in the east side?
Correct.
So these doors are all going to be, these new locked and these new keypads are going to be for the back east side of this building and the police department?
They're already in the police department.
Okay.
So it'll be for the back east doors to access the floors, and then it will also be for like the DPW lobby entrance into the office, and for the HR in their office, and the clerk's office, and the treasurer's office, and the assessing office. So it'll prevent people from walking back to non-public areas.
It doesn't close off the public area.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, I was trying to just visualize this, of course, needed for security, but also when he started explaining it, you want to be able to walk. It's nice to be able to walk in the first floor, sometimes take the stairs up to go talk to somebody at the 2nd or 3rd floor in the planning commission. I just, I don't want to have a keypad to do it, and that was, again, just for the public to be able to access the regular.
Yeah, no, the public will have full access to the public areas. Nothing will change. I did issue an internal policy which requires all employees to wear their badge, and that is so we can identify who they are walking around our building. We have about 220 full-time employees, and a lot of them are in this building, in and out of this building. This allows us to identify them and know that they're supposed to be there, back whether it be in the finance office or in IT, all those areas. And so this will lock it down.
Okay.
Any other questions for the chief while he's up there?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I think this is a great idea, and in the interest of safety, and, and it's never too late, but we are kind of behind with this, because I don't think you can go to a public building, of this significance in what we do, and you don't have, identification on you. I think I have about 3 or 4 of them. You see, when I come in, you have to have that in each one of our doors. We have the same program in the place that I work for, and it not only protects our public, but it also protects the people that are working for us. So it's a two-way street. So it's not that we're trying to keep them out, but the same way they came to work, we want them to leave that way safe, and we need to have some structure built in place to ensure that. And so this does ensure that we have another step towards them being safe.
Right,
So,
safety is a priority.
absolutely. So thank you, and thank you, administration. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Chief, I'm going to give this badge back to you.
Councilmember Harris.
I guess my only reservation is the person that uses stairs is probably more than the elevator. Is that going to?
The front stairs.
Am I going to have to refrain from using the stairways?
Nope. You're more than welcome to use the front stairwell. Yep.
Thank you.
We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Beeden,
Yes.
Councilmember Harris,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Warden,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. We'll move on to resolutions. Number 1.
Authorizing 14 payments.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Member Ashford, is there a second?
Support?
Councilmember Pemberton. Any questions, comments?
Mayor Rep.
Councilmember Warden.
I just wanted to kind of, it's a packet, page 30, it's H.1.B, and it's, I think, the sanctum contracting. I think it's the second and final, and this is for the work done over there at Lakeside Park. Was that for the pavilion and that cement thing that they put up?
Correct.
And there was some type of a adjustment that you, from the initial bid on this, and then you had some contract or concrete work done that they removed that dollar amount, and that's the $14,800?
Yeah, you are correct. We had our quantities of contracting that was in the original bid. We realized that our contract with McKenzie Concrete was far better price for quantities, so we deleted that from the contract and went with the cheaper rate through McKenzie and got it done.
So just to get the final picture here, this award to what the Sanctum did, is it that pavilion?
It's a pavilion. It's two
The 30
pavilions out
by,
there.
what's that?
There's 2 pavilions out there, plus all the work that goes with it.
Okay,
work.
so they did the 2 new pavilions there.
Correct.
And all the concrete was done by,
A significant portion was done by them. Some of the walkways and plate repair was done by McKenzie.
okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember Harris.
just a comment, over the years prior to being on council and everything, I've kind of looked at some of our engineering costs and stuff, and it bounces back, and when we look at last year, and we spent, Tetra Tech, we spent over $450,000, and already their first payment this year is $92,000, and I think James, and we've spoke other times that, someday or another, hopefully we've tried it on a couple of things to diversify the bids to try to get some of this annual payment lowered or at least diversified. So it's just, like I say, it's something I've been watching for years, and it is a lot better than it was. I've seen years where we hit $1.5 million to the same company, and last year was less than a third of that. So I guess we're heading in the right direction. I just didn't want to start out this year with the same one, but I always appreciate the financial reports on these. Thank you.
You bring up an excellent point, but I will say this. you can't just look at what we're paying our engineering costs year over year. It has to be in comparison to what capital outlay is. So if we're doing $3 million of work at the plant or street work, utility work, as your capital increases, so does your engineering cost. So it's about 10 or 15% to capital costs. So it's really not a year over year. You have to look at your capital. The issue we're having is our system is so complex. And in the last time we went out for RFQ on engineering firms, Tetra Tech has worked with our system so long that there's not a learning curve. And so when we send an RFP, like one firm charges $1,000 more in billable hours just because they had to come and assess the system. So that is why we have a relationship with Tetra Tech. They're actually saving us money by not having to come in, learn our system, learn what our plant's like. Whereas if we go out to some firms, they're going to come in and the first couple hundred hours of being on site, they're just going to learn what our facilities are. And so that is the reason why for a lot of our utility work, we use Tetra Tech. They've done an excellent job. Their rates are comparable, and their billable hours are significantly less than any other firm because they don't have to learn the system.
Yeah, and that was proven about a month ago when we...
Yes, it was. We tried hard.
We had a reputable firm that also bid in it, but they underestimated the job by hundreds of hours, so
Correct.
it does change the dynamic, so
Correct.
thank you.
We will take the vote on resolution number 1.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Yes.
Councilmember Warden.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Councilmember Beeden.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 2.
Adopting the St. Clair County Hazard Mitigation Plan as the official hazard mitigation plan for the city of Port Huron.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pemberton, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris. Is there any discussion? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Yes.
Councilmember Warden.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Councilmember Beeden.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 3.
Authorizing and supporting the submission of grant applications to the Southeast Michigan Resilient Fund to assist in the cost of improvements and access to the shoreline at the Black River Island Loop Route as part of the National Water Trail at Riverside Boat Launch and the Lincoln Park Scenic Turnout.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Beeden, is there a second?
Support.
Madam Mayor, I just want to thank Nancy Windsor and then also Kim Harmer for writing these grant applications. Kim and Nancy are our dynamic team who are able to put together great narratives, and it's nice to see they're not only touching the north side, but also the south side and that turnout, which is very heavily used by the community. So hopefully we get some money.
That would be nice.
Can, Mayor Rep, can anyone speak to what they hope to see in terms of that? Particularly, I'm interested in Lincoln Park because all that fishing and parking and all that stuff that goes on and running out of room.
Mayor and City Council, our hopes at the turnout is we do have a lot of deteriorating stairs there, as I'm sure you're aware. So we want to make that accessible because right now the only way down are those deteriorating stairs. So we'd like to make it accessible with a ramp so anybody who wants to enjoy the waterfront can. We also will do some benches. We're looking at doing I have to look because we have so many going right now.
Right.
Fixing the accessible walkway there as well for the fishermen in that area. But our biggest concern is making it ADA accessible and also fixing those stairs that are deteriorating so bad there, so.
So the focus is on the stairs, but when the parking situation down there, is that limited?
The
Can we
parking-
get any space or?
Yeah, and this one you could only apply for up to 50,000.
Oh, I
So
see,
there wasn't,
okay.
and it was more focused on access to the waterfront. So this particular one would not address the parking necessarily. We would probably, as you see in the photo, add some ADA parking, but other than that, not the whole lot, so,
Okay.
on this particular project.
Understand. Well, just keep that under advisory in the future. I guess we still have to depend on the police
Yes,
to monitor that traffic and stuff down there.
yes, for
Because it
sure.
is dangerous.
Just don't take someone's fishing spot.
For sure.
That is just my
Thank
point.
you.
Thank you. Is there any other questions, discussion? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Warden.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Councilmember Beeden.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Item 4.
Approving the scheduling of a public hearing for January 28, 2019, to receive comments on the general needs in community development, housing, and special services utilizing CDBG and home funds, and scheduling a second public hearing for February 25, 2019, to hear comments on the proposed 2019 annual action plan.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pemberton, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris.
Madam Mayor, this is our annual, we have to develop a plan for what we're going to do with our CDBG funds, and this is our hearing where we receive public comment. Now, throughout the year, numerous groups, for instance, the Blue Water Rescue Mission, or the Center, or these community groups who are really doing the really boots on the ground work in our community with social services, have approached us about possible funding. David Haynes has reached out to those people to remind them that this is the time to formally put their request in. And so we have reached out to all those who have come before council seeking this funding over the last year or so, and hopefully we can factor that into the plan we bring you.
Any questions?
Mayor Rep, I guess the
Councilmember Harris.
only reason I took this off the consent agenda was the fact that how much money are we getting from the federals this year in CDBG funds?
We'll let David guesstimate that.
Or is that shut down too?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, boy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Evening.
That's a very good question. Every year, we go through the allocation through the housing and urban development, and we see a reallocation of both the CDBG and the home funds. In the past, the federal government has had the position of eliminating the CDBG and home funds altogether. Thankfully, that has never occurred. In fact, last year we were very fortunate. We saw about a 15% increase. So we have to hold our breath until sometime July, and until we really hear from the federal government what our next allocation will be.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
That was mine. Just wondered how much we might get, so.
We will take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Councilmember Beeden.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Yes.
Councilmember Warden.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. We'll move on to ordinances. Number 1.
Second reading and enactment. An ordinance to amend Chapter 52 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 1, generally, Section 52-162 map of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances to rezone the property generally described as 1912 vacant lot 24th Street from an R1 zoning district to an M1 zoning district.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Pemberton, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Harris, is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor, this is to accommodate the expansion for the Blue Water Rescue Mission and the work that they are doing.
Mayor Rep, yeah, I just wanted to follow up with, as a second reading, I just want to see, was there any feedback at all from the time of the first reading till now regarding this ordinance?
No, and as I've stated in the past, that any communications we get regarding a public hearing, we will send it to council before the meeting. So if someone contacts us or provides comment, that will be provided to all of you.
Okay. I appreciate that, and I wish them the best luck.
We will take the vote.
Councilmember Beeden.
Yes.
Councilmember Harris.
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton.
Yes.
Councilmember Warden.
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford.
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Number 2.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 52 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 1 generally, Section 52-162 map of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances to rezone the property generally described as 2125 Military Street from an A1 zoning district to a B zoning district.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Ashford, is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Beeden.
Madam Mayor, this was taken up by I believe our Planning Commission. And the reason for this change is this is actually an office building. It's always been an office building. It has commercial-like activity and business-like activity. However, our ordinance, and our zoning ordinance as it currently reads, says an office can be there, but not a salon. So the people buying it are putting in a salon. So on a technicality, we need to rezone it so that a salon, not an office, can be there. And I believe there was no community opposition. It was pretty supportive for it, so.
Any comments? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Warden?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Beeden?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, that concludes our agenda. We have a couple of announcements, and one is the city offices will be closed January 21st in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Also, we have a couple of events coming up. We, last weekend, had Silver Stick, and again in 2 weekends, not this coming one, but the following one, have Silver Stick again. We're very grateful that they do it 3 weekends now in January. I was there Friday night, and it was a nice turnout, so I think the tournament went well. Also, we have Chili Fest that same weekend, so maybe we could have Nancy Windsor. Do you have any information on that? I know you're not directly responsible, but maybe you have some information. Chili Fest.
Mayor Rep and City Council, Natalie Watson is, as you said, in charge this year, our DDA director, and is doing a great job. But my understanding is Friday is Your Generation, which will be an evening show. Saturday's an all-day, like always, starting, I want to say at 11 or 12, don't quote me, but with our chili cook-off with our downtown businesses, and also at like 2 or 3, I believe, the bed races are coming back from the YPs. We have sculptures downtown, free horse-driven horse rides.
Carriage rides.
Thank you. And also, I don't know what's up. And also the kids' activities that will be happening at McMorrin in the theater as well. So lots of great things, lots of great hockey. Come on down. It'll be really happening. I think we'll.
Are all the activities on like a website that somebody could visit?
Yes, it's on the Chili Fest website.
Chili Fest website.
And I apologize, but you can get it there, I believe, from the city website. So I don't have the address with me. But also the Gobies are playing on Saturday night, so a lot of great entertainment in the tent as well, and lots of heat and fun and entertainment. So don't miss it.
Okay. There you go.
That's the best advertisement I have. I know she's got some new stuff planned, but again, it's on the website. So.
Great. Thank you, Nancy.
Just real quick, is it same location, just the South McMorrin lot there with the tent? Thank you.
Is there anything else to come before the council?
Mayor Rep,
Councilmember
I was
Harris.
hoping to get Nancy before she sat down, but I was going to ask her, because I just remembered it, what's the new building at the Court Street Pool they're putting in today? Oh, okay. It was quite a project. They did a wonderful job, so, yep, thank you.
Anyone else? I will entertain a motion to adjourn then.
So move.
Meeting adjourned.